Hello everyone, and welcome to this new Odoo Insider session. Before starting, I will ask you to keep a secret for me. Antoine.R believes that today is a public day off, and that's why I'm here to take his place. So I would like you to keep that secret for me to make sure that he's not aware about this. Today is let's say a usual Q&A session about any kind of functional or technical question. And it will not be the case of the session of next week. Actually, it's something that will be mostly related to how to import in Odoo, and it will be also a pre-recorded session. While the week after, on the 8th of May, it will be as well a regular Q&A session given by myself. And on the 15th of May, you will have a session about the point of sale expert session, where two point of sale experts will be there to help you with this topic. Before starting as well, and to give you time to prepare your questions, I would like to address a question that we received maybe a few weeks ago, I think. But I think that is pretty interesting and probably not known so much by users of Odoo, which is this one that we received. Which asks us which data are retrieved from Barcode lookup.com when you retrieve the product data from Barcode with Odoo. This feature is let's say rather new. It has been added to Odoo in Odoo 18, I think, but it's pretty good to know about this because it can help a lot your customers if they are willing to quickly create data in Odoo and data that are coming from, let's say, a big database of barcodes that are already existing. I will just show you that in the database. So here I am. I'm in an Odoo 18 database. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take a look at the settings of the sales app. And there, if I just type barcode, I will be able to take a look here at something that tells me, actually, you are able to create products by scanning using barcode lookup.com and asking me to provide an API key if I have one. Actually, here I'm on a test database, and actually it's possible not to, let's say, have any API for the creation of products, and I think it's also the case for any database where a contract is put in place. But I propose for you to test it, and for that, what we can simply do is to go on that page here to look for a product. I don't know, let's maybe put a mouse like this to see if we have something. Yes, great. For example, this one, and here in the, let's say, what we have in this information is the barcode of the product. What I can try is to simply copy it, go back in my database, jump in the products page, create a new one, and instead of providing the usual information as the name, the sales price, and so on, I'm simply going to populate the barcode field and to save to see what happens. And ta-da, everything is automatically populated. But what we could think of is, okay, when I say everything, what does it mean exactly? What are the information that are coming directly into Odoo? And that's what could be interesting as well. For you to know what is booked, you could take a look at the code and see exactly how it is done. What you need to know is that when you decide to install some kind of integration as this one here in the settings, you basically install a new module in your database. And for that, what we can do is simply to take a look at the apps that we have in Odoo. And here, if I type barcode, I might be able to see somewhere something that is related to this. And I mean, I know the answer, but this is the one here, module, that we can take a look at, which is the one that's going to install the information. And if I take a look into the code of Odoo here, I'm able to probably find some information about this. So I'm going to jump into the GitHub of Odoo Enterprise in that case. And here, simply going to look for this expression in the add-ons of my Enterprise, repository. Here it is. In that case, I am on the product template when I want to populate things. So I'm just going to go in the models product template and take a look at what I have here. And I'm going to see basically here about the update method, what is going to be done. And basically here I will see that, let's say with different section, every time what are the information coming from the database that's going to be created and populated in Odoo. Like about the image, the weight, the price, the attributes and values. Like, well, I will not list all of them, but at least you see where it is coming from, and that enable you to properly understand how it works. And so that justifies, and explain how the information are going to be imported in Odoo. There is also a way to not simply create them manually, but you could do it, for example, with a barcode if you want to directly scan your products and create new ones, and that can be done as well from the barcode application. So yes, so it's just a small tip that I think that can be valuable for some of you. Then I can start with your question. I already received one from Max here, who asks us, is there a way to have one report showing the total consumption of a product if it is both sold to customers and used as a manufacturing component? Thanks a lot. Let's try. So for that, I'm first going to create this product to have something that is completely new, that we don't, let's say, we are not disturbed by existing demo data. And let's say that my product A, in that case, it can be sold, but what I'm going to do is to also include it as a component of another product, which I'm going to call product B. And saying here, so this one, of course, are going to be tracked in terms of inventory, but it will be the same for my product A, of course. I need to track the inventory as well. And what I'm going to do is to give here to product B a bill of material where the component will be product A, like this. Then I need to make, of course, the two cases. So the first one will be to sell my product A to a customer. So here, let's do it quickly. So add it to my quotation, confirm. So here I got the delivery. To be able to fulfill my delivery, I need to get some product A products. You know what, to make sure that we tackle the right use case, I'm going to make something quite realistic and imagine that we purchase actually this product to some of my vendor. And here I'm just going then to select Azure Interior and explain that I'm going to purchase, let's say, 10 units of my product A, like this. Confirm my order and receive it there. Then when I come back to my sales order, here, of course, I have some units available, so I'm able to fulfill my delivery as well. So here I make my first case, which is I sold my product, so I deliver it. It's true in your case, like in your question, you mentioned the fact that it is sold. It's true that I would start with the assumption that it is delivered as well, okay? That you can, see the total consumption, because if you did not, let's say, deliver it yet, I guess it is not consumed, so of course it will not appear in the report. The second case is for us to see then how it is, or let's say, when it is used as a component of another product. So for that, I'm simply going to jump in the manufacturing app and create a manufacturing order for my product B in that case. Here it's going to take my bill of material that I just created before, and I can simply confirm it. And here it's going to assume that I have, let's say, indeed one quantity that is going to be consumed to produce my product B, and that's the case. So I'm going to produce it, and that's it. The common point in between my sale and my manufacturing is that I got a product move linked to each of them. And so it means that if I jump, I could start with my product actually. If I go on my product here, product A, and take a look at the moves that I have here, I will see indeed all the moves that are, let's say, recorded in terms of this product. So it could be incoming moves and outgoing moves. And basically it could indeed, if I just take a look at the ones that are outgoing, it could mention like all the consumption of this product. There, I think I can indeed filter on the outgoing one. Yes, like this, and also the manufacturing. Oh yeah, but here indeed we do not see then the ones where, let's say, it is used as a component. Okay, so probably the filter then is not going to work. But what I could say is to, let's say, I don't want to see the incoming one. So here I could replace the filter and say, okay, I want to see the ones that are different from receipt. Okay, but it's the same actually. Okay, so probably it's not the best case. It's not a problem actually, because here what we just need to find is the right filter. Basically, what happens is that when you produce a good, it's going to move here in the virtual locations production, while if you deliver it, it's going to go to that location here. So what I can simply do then is to make a filter to take a look at those locations. So here I want to filter on the to location. So basically, I just take the to case and I say I want it to be part of partner customers or here virtual locations productions, and I add it. And there I get the total consumption of my products on a specific period of time. For that, I could, for example, decide to group it by date and month to see every month what is the total consumption of this product in my inventory. Here I got this report, of course, for one single product. I could do it let's say on a larger scale, if I simply go in my inventory app, reporting, and my moves history, basically it's the same. And here I just apply the same logic to see exactly each of the moves my product have been part of. And here, I can simply then select partner customers and production, add it, and same. Here I could even group it by product, for example, and see the total consumption then of each of my products for now in my database. So yeah, that's how you can achieve it. So it's a report because it's a report in Odoo. You do some reporting, something that you could also do, let's say, in terms of a spreadsheet like this, if you want to organize things a bit differently. Here it's a quantity that would be interesting for us. And then if you want to make some different kind of report, like you could export it in an Excel file, or you could insert it in a spreadsheet and create a dashboard based on that. So that then at that point you can do anything you want, but that's something that you can do. All right. Yes, next question. About the point of sale from Byron on LinkedIn. I have a question. In places like Canada or US, there is usually a West Coast and an East Coast warehouse. Could I set up a point of sale so when I get an order, the system can calculate based on postal code from where it makes more sense to ship? It's true that where the question is a bit surprising means that, let's say, a point of sale should be something that is physical, so probably then located either, let's say, nearly the West Coast or the East Coast. And so it's true that by default on a point of sale, you have a by default then operation type to deliver your goods. And then this operation type is linked to a warehouse. So we would start from the idea that if you have a point of sale that is set up, let me show you that. For example, here, my furniture shop is a good example. I can state at the end that the operation type is this one. And here we use the warehouse which in my database is called Odoo Insider INRS. And it's right that here you don't really, let's say, leave the choice to the people using the point of sale to choose a different operation type. So it's not, let's say, very easy for that. But what you could think of is probably to then create an operation type that is, let's say, sufficiently, let's say flexible, where you could indeed decide that for a reason or another, you could indeed, once it is created and that your delivery order is, let's say, generated but is not confirmed, that you can still modify it. But in your case, like you assume that it is done automatically, and this setup is true, will not be available, let's say, in Odoo standard. So you will need to insert a certain logic in the software to make sure that it's going to be done, let's say, automatically. Let's try just to create some things that we see what it looks like. So I'm going to here, let's say, select one product like this one here, add a customer on it, like this. And yes, proceed to the payment. But I'm not sure I added the option to deliver later. So I'm going just to cancel it here and start again. So I'm going to close the register. Yes, and maybe just okay, I will not count the cash for now, but of course you should do it in practice to go a bit faster. And here I'm just going to take a look at yes, this shipping later option that is going to be, in that case, important for us. And here we see that we did then to, of course, select a warehouse by default. That's what I told you. But we can still try to see if there is something that we can do, let's say, to automate it a bit. So here I still have my order. That's very good. I can continue, explain that I'm going to ship later. Okay, very good. And paid by cash. And then validate. Great. Now if I close my register again, what I will see is that, again, to my session that I just opened, there is a picking created, which is basically just a delivery order that has been created, let's say, in my database. That is indeed going first here to assign it to this operation type that I mentioned, like a delivery order from my main warehouse. What you can see here is that you can change it, but I think the warehouse itself, if we take a look, yes, it's not really defined anywhere, but that's probably because I'm on a single warehouse environment. I'm going to check if it is the case. Yes, let's create a second warehouse. Yes, great. WH2, like this. And there, go back to my delivery, which was not this one. Anyway, I'm just going to come back to my point of sale to make sure I find the same here. Yes, so what I see is that I can still change it. So I could say, basically, finally, I decide to deliver it from my warehouse number 2 here. So Odoo leaves me the choice. So what it means is that it's pretty nice because I'm not stuck, due to a preset that I would have defined before. So here I just need to imply a logic if I want it to be done automatically. This logic needs to be, of course, let's say, defined by the user itself. What is nice that here you have the delivery address. The delivery address is linked to, for example, a zip code. Then you could say, let's say, create an automation saying here, for example, so the trigger would be on save when you update, for example, the create date, created on, update of the operation type. And there's decide that if, let's say, the delivery address, okay, but I cannot see it there. Let's see. Contact, yeah, that's probably this one that I should take, and the zip code starts with, you could make something like this. Of course, that's where I'm a bit, let's say, misknowing let's say the zip codes of the West Coast and East Coast, but if there are some rules that enable you easily to define which one is in which situation, here you could play with that, saying, okay, if, for example, the zip code starts with a 7, for example, then I decide to update my operation type and to select, for example, here, the one from my first or second warehouse according to what I'm going to do. And so, for example, here, decide to make a delivery, yes, well, just delivery is not the same name as I'm used to, but here it's just because I have a pick and a pack. Whatever, here I can just decide to make a picking like this to make sure that it's going to be adapted according to my zip code. So it's a way of doing it here with an automated action. Okay, so if you want to keep things simple and simply reuse Studio stuff that you can do. Of course, that's also something that you can develop with a dedicated module if you want to properly adapt it and insert it in the logic of Odoo. Okay, yes. So to answer the question. Next question about from Aniket. I have a query regarding the amount in words feature in Odoo 18. Currently, this feature appears to be available only on invoices. However, we would like to have the amount in words displayed on purchase orders as well. Is it possible to implement this functionality in the purchase module? If so, could you please guide us on how to configure or customize it accordingly? Additionally, please note that we are currently using Odoo SH, so any suggestions or steps specific to this environment would be appreciated. All right, well, what happens is that if we take a look at an invoice, let's do it here. I will just check, because indeed I know that there is this notion of amount in words that exists. Let's see if we have a field related to that. Yes, and we have this here. So what does it mean? It means that on the journal entry model, you have a field that is, let's say, computed to automatically convert the total amount that is a monetary field into a char field, which is not so easy because, of course, this notion depends on the translation as well. So I guess there is somewhere in the code, and we're going to look for it, a logic that's going to make this conversion in between the two things. If you don't have it on the purchase order, it's just then because this logic has not been, created there. So you need indeed to make some customization to reproduce what has been done in the current way, in the way it has been done in the journal entry. Like you could at least get inspiration from there. The thing is that basically with Studio, you will not be able to get a very nice result. It's too complicated, too many use cases actually that you can face to make it possible, for example, with an automated action. So you need to create this logic again. There, what I'm going to check is this, let's say, field to retrieve it in the code of Odoo to see, let's say, how it is computed. I see that, no, well, let's check first like this. I see it was recognized. Yes, this one. And, well, it is for the MX. That's probably because it's first part of the community repository. So I'm just going to take a look there first and at this module. All right, let's take a look. And so here, okay. So yes, so here's the settings that we have on the company, and here it's account move. Great, and there, so probably we should have something explaining how the conversion is done. So let's try. So first, what I'm going to do is to see if I can find the field itself. So there's the definition of this field. Yes, so here what we see is that, as we could assume, indeed the field is computed. So it's computed based on this method that we have there. And this method, like this, Odoo does not load. Let me take a look at this. Yes. Well, okay, anyway, I'm just going to look for it like this. Great. So it was one where we were, of course, and here we have this notion of currency ID dot amount to text move amount total dot replace, and here, you know, it's just going to make something related to this formula that we have, and that should be defined on the currency model, and that's indeed what Odoo is telling us. If we go on the model's res currency, we will have something. This is the definition of this action that we can find, which is there. Yes, amount to text, and here you see like that we have a certain function, try num2 words, which is there, and here that's going to be done. And this num2 words function, here I'm a bit stuck as well. I'm just going to, because I cannot look for it. Yes. No. Well, I'm just going to refresh my page to make sure that I can access it. Great. That's maybe something that is coming from, let's say, a library in Python. Let's see. Yes, exactly. So here it's going to import it from a Python library. What it means is the following. So then what you need to do is to create a module for that. So to make sure that you reproduce what is done here. So you import a library from Python, which is num2 words, and you just create a computed field that's going to convert here the amount of your field into this one. The thing is that actually this formula exists on the res currency, so basically you maybe don't need to rewrite that part, but you still need to create in your database something about this conversion. So which is this part. If I'm just going to reach it again, this is this part. So could you do it in, let's say, in the database directly? I'm not sure, but I mean, you know what? Let's try to see if we are able to do it, if I do it manually. But to be honest, I don't trust it will be possible. So here, let's try to define amount in words, a custom field. It's a char text like this, and it's amount in words. And here in the compute field, we would say for record in self, record, and there we put the name of our field. Is equal to, and then here I need to, yes, actually I cannot resave it, but I need to check actually the model itself to make sure that I can use it. Because on the model there should be a field which is called currency. Yes, there. So currency ID. So what I can do is to say record.currencyID dot, and here as the method exists, but it's just that I don't know if I can access it or not. Here we could decide to rewrite that part, amount to text, there, and to use it there. It's just that move, of course, is not something that I can use, so I need to use record.amount, and here the amount is maybe not written in the same way, so I need to check. Amount total, no, it's the same. And then replace. I mean, let's keep it like this to see if it works, and the idea would be that if I decide to change my amount total, I want something to happen. I can save, that's a good point already. Now if I decide to go into my view, here and try to display that field that I just computed. So here it's then amount in words. Here, okay, let's put it there. And what I need to do is to create maybe a new purchase order, €0 for now. So it seems to work. Let's put a price to see that. Yes, it works. Okay, pretty nice. So now here I have my amount in word that is computed. So what I could do is then to add it on my PDF and run the report itself. And there, I mean, it's just then an inherited view that we need to create in order to add that field somewhere in my view. So here it depends, I mean, on where you want to add it. What we could do probably is to take a look at how it is done as well on the invoice. Why not? Because probably, yes, if I go on my report and take a look at my invoice PDF, there is maybe a view that is only there for the total in text. Maybe not. Well, at least I don't see it directly. But maybe that's because I need to activate the settings. It's not maybe done by default. Amount. Yes. So if I activate that settings and come back on an invoice here, well, it doesn't seem to appear like this, but what I can still do is to take a look at this field that we have, amount, no, not in the filters, in the fields, amounts total in words, and here to see where are the views that contain, what are the views that contain that field. And here there is this one. So if I look for it, yes. Okay, and so here it is done, and so it is added at that place, you know, in the report invoice document. So that's basically that kind of then system that you can reproduce. Of course, it's a different report, so it would be probably, of course, a different way of doing it. But then it just comes to a small change of, let's say, the way of modifying the report. So here, you know, trying to find the same place on the report of the purchase order and try to add the same code, but do it with an inherited view. So you end up, let's say, with two different customization in that case, like a computed field that you have created and a modification of the view. As I show, like you could do it directly in the database, as I just did here, but then of course it's a bit more complicated to maintain it in the future. So if you want to make sure that everything is properly maintained as well, you could create a module for that. And so to answer the last point of your question, here you mentioned about Odoo SH. Well, Odoo SH is a perfect platform to create your own module. So in that case, if I just want to show you, let's maybe give me 1 second to show you an SH project so that you see what I mean. For example, this one. So an SH project is always linked to a GitHub repository, and so that's where you would have to define your own module and to push it on your branch to make sure that it's directly added to your SH project. So let's say that on a SaaS database, it would be a bit more complicated for you to create that kind of module, while on SH you have more tools to do it in terms of logs, in terms of push and staging environment, for example. But then, yes, you need to go on GitHub in your corresponding repository. Yes. So in my case, it is called NRS2, this one. And here, if I decide to create a new module, it will be pushed to the corresponding branch I am in, and then to install the corresponding custom field that I have, computed field, as well as the view that I created. And so that's what you should do on Odoo SH if you want to make things properly, and also make sure that you can, for example, easily upgrade this module, but as well reuse it maybe for different customers if you feel like this need is something that can, you know, come in different kind of project and customer situation as well. Okay, so very interesting question. I hope it was helpful for you. Then next question from Mahmoud. Why does not Odoo provide company credit report health? I just don't know what you mean by credit report. Is it because of course, like it's probably then an accounting report as of course, and you probably know then in accounting you have already many different reports that exist. And some of them, of course, are linked to the partner ledger and to the receivable or, let's say, payable accounts that are recorded. So probably here, if you mention the credit, that's maybe, yes, because let's say it's either like let's say a vendor or a customer that you are referring to. It's just that I always hesitate in between both. What I mean here by that is that either like this kind of report is unknown from you, and I would advise you to take a bit more time to make sure that like your need is not answered already by one of the report that you have in standard. If it's not the case, then that's I cannot tell you if that's something that is a work in progress, as I don't really know the subject for now. But yes, based on my experience, based on what I have with some existing customers that use the accounting in Odoo, there are possibilities at some point to find here the best way of doing things. If not, for example, because companies still want to have some KPIs, computed, or things that are a bit different, a bit more customized, what they can still do is to create their own report, because basically, like accounting stuff are always starting from journal items data, and if you are able, in a way, to let's say define some precise rules to generate your company credit report, health report, you could here start from a table where you just display the corresponding data, and you insert it in a spreadsheet, and then you make a dashboard where you just make the right computation to see the data that are displayed. That's pretty common to do it. We have even at Odoo a service for that for customers and partners to help you in that process. So if that's something that you want to explore and you want maybe support for that, you can create a partner request in that case for us to help you. But the first point is for you to make sure first that it does not exist in Odoo in standard, and second, just to come with a clear explanation about what is this report about and what are the data that should be displayed. And in that case, it's mostly possible to do it here, starting from the journal items and creating the proper dashboard for that. Okay. Next question from Chris. How to upload a file, graphic or text, on a website linked to a product that you want to personalize? Okay. That's a good question. The best standard answer that I can provide in the current version of Odoo is to use, and maybe it's not going to suit your needs, but that's still an answer that I can give, is what we call the extra step during the checkout. The thing is that here, if you activate this option, you leave a chance to the customers to, let's say, to be able to add some extra information at the end of the checkout, just before the payment, regarding the purchase that they did. That's in a very basic case. Example that you purchase a T-shirt and you want to customize it. You want to add a logo, for example. This extra info page could be there to ask then the person to provide a picture of the logo as well as an explanation about how it should be displayed. Enable here like to add a text or any kind of document, any kind of attachment, and all of this will be attached to the corresponding order in the chatter at the end. So that could be indeed a way of doing it. It's true that of course it happens a bit later on when you are purchasing goods. So of course it may be not known by the client when they are just doing their shopping and selecting the products here, that they could be added afterwards, to add more information during the extra step. But it's true that here you cannot really leave the option to your client, to adapt and to add more fields, more information, let's say, directly when adding to cart. So yeah, that's it. I think that's the most standard solution. If you want, of course, to add more possibilities during the add to cart, a bit as we have here with the available options and so on, and so the ability to load a file, that's something that you would customize. But if we think in terms of logic in Odoo, that's not exactly the way Odoo is working. Why? Because when you add a product here on your document, let's say in your cart, what it does is that it just creates an order in Odoo, and so you just add a line every time. And there is no way in standard in Odoo to attach a document on a line. So at the end, the document is attached in the chatter for the whole order. So that's why here it would be a bit tricky to add it directly in the chatter. So why? Because first you need to add a field on it that allows you to attach something, and then of course to make sure that it's displayed when the people add it to the cart. So it's a bit of customization. So it's of course not so easy to be done. Or you just try to make sure that people know, that you add this extra step and that people can just upload the file at that moment when they do the checkout. There's probably a way, but let me check that. Let's see if I just go back to my extra step during checkout, because here, of course, I can simply upload one document, but there is a way, to make it, to change the visibility condition. And there, yes, it depends on what you have above. But like you could then make this extra info page, let's say, depending on the case that you have. The problem is that here I don't have a lot of context, but saying, okay, what did you purchase? They select maybe different values at that moment, and then accordingly the form is going to adapt and explain. Okay, so you need to upload that document, and yes, and maybe just try to put some warning, at least some messages in the web shop, explaining that if they are willing to purchase that good, then they will be able to provide more information during the extra info step. It's easier then because you just need to add a message at some point, so it's not a big deal, and you keep the logic of Odoo, which is that you add the information during the extra info step at the end of the workflow. Okay. Good. Next question from Kludak. Odoo point of sale not printing in the kitchen. What's the solution here? IoT fails if printers are multiple. The thing is that I guess that you don't have multiple printers in the kitchen, or maybe you do, but it's true that then you get a conflict, because you cannot really choose when you are, let's say, sending an order in the kitchen to choose which printer you want to print, where you want to print it. So I guess you still have one printer in the kitchen, and maybe one printer is true, let's say next to the cashier, to be able to print the bill at the end of the meal. Here, I guess it's always a question. Well, always, not always, but it could be a question of then network, and how your IoT is connected in your kitchen, in your restaurant. So it's important that indeed the computer where you are using Odoo and the point of sale and the IoT are all connected to the same network, exactly the same, and also, if possible, of course, to be able to link it with a cable as much as possible if you have the possibility to do it. It will reduce the risk, of course, of having mistakes when you are, let's say, trying to print a ticket. So yes, except for that, it's true it's a bit complicated for me here to take a look at this. But yes, I think probably, of course, you did. But yes, just trying to review again and again here what are the best practices. No, this one, or maybe yes, this one here. So it's in French, but I'm going to switch it to English. Yes, trying to take a look exactly at how it is set up and so on will be probably the best case. First, you can also try to contact the standard support of Odoo to explain, and try to see if you get any error message. Try to understand where it comes from. But yes, just this notion of printers are multiple, that's a bit strange to me, because I don't see where you had the choice to choose where to print it. When you just send then the ticket to the kitchen. Okay, next question about payroll from Atef. Does the Swiss payroll module support multi-company? I run a fiduciary team and would like to manage the payroll for my clients using a single license, but with a multi-company setup. So That's a good question. Actually, we are investigating this notion of fiduciary firm using payroll for Switzerland, and we are not yet sure about which is the best practice to make it work. Like if you just take the example of let's say the corresponding case for accounting, you have indeed a lot of fiduciary firms that are using Odoo for managing the accounting of their clients. And what they do for now is that they have one database per client, indeed, to make it easier, that everything is properly then different and they can manage it like this. And that's, let's say, the assumption that we take as well for payroll, the idea that you have the same principle, like you also have, let's say, one database for each of your clients. If I think about the fact that you would like to move to multi-company, that's because indeed what you probably have is that you want to install then accounting and payroll at the same time. So you want to have then to move to the standard, and even in multi-company, the custom pricing, as you know, as the Odoo pricing here is, if you are in multi-company, is going to switch to the custom one. And it's true that there you could need to have one custom environment where you can just install each of the companies for each of your clients. Well, this solution would work, and it's true that as long as all your clients are in Switzerland, like you could use indeed the Odoo Swiss module for multi-company environment. So it could work. Maybe there will be some corner case, some errors that may come. That's because the module is pretty new and we are improving it week after week. So if you face any kind of corner case, don't hesitate to contact us so that we can fix it as fast as possible, of course. But I would say yes, then in that case. But keep in mind that there is one let's say thing that may be a bit more complicated, is that at the moment your client maybe decide to have access to Odoo, because they want to use it as well. Then they will need to pay the custom pricing at that moment. Okay, so it's of course let's say more expensive than the standard one, and also in terms of access rights, it will be a bit more complicated for you to manage everything, because maybe, if some of your customers want to have access, wants to use different apps, different workflows, different settings, like every time you're going to play with that, it will be much more complicated. So that's why I think we decided to move to a different database per client, is to make things way easier in the case the client decides to go for the standard pricing and so on, and to start using the database. So I understand it from the pricing point of view. I think it will be interested in the short term, but maybe think as well in terms of long term, and the fact that maybe your users will be convinced about Odoo, will be willing to use it, afterwards. And that's maybe where it could be a bit more challenging. And about the module itself, yes, it should work in multi-company. But if you face issues, don't hesitate to contact us either through the support or through a partner request, that we can investigate it directly. Okay. Next question from Kaiser. How can we add user pin location in Odoo on user login that we can track user? I'm using Odoo 17. So the pin location, I'm just going to assume it's linked maybe to the IP address of the user. It's just that I'm not exactly sure to know what the pin location is. Sorry for that. If the idea is to track the location of the user, let's say in the space, so that's something that you can do, that you would probably do more if you decide to use the attendance application. Let me show you that. Here, so you could decide to ask each of your employees to record their attendances when they are connecting to Odoo. Even if, for you maybe the time spent is not very important, but it could be interesting for you just to note exactly, where they are located. For example, if they are doing some homeworking, to make sure that they are at home and not in Costa Rica. So here, if we want to make a test, here, if I want to make a check-in, as with my user, you see here, Odoo is asking me if I want to know my location, and I can allow him here. So I made the check-in. So if I refresh my page, I will probably here see that I started here my working. And if I take a look at the details, I will see my GPS coordinates depending on my IP address that I just used to connect. And so this indeed will be recorded if you decide to use the attendance application. But during the user login, I'm not sure you can get this information if that's the information that you want. If it is not, don't hesitate to comment it again in the chatter to make sure that I get your point. But it's true that when you just log in, there is no much information that are stored, except the fact that if I take a look at the users, we have maybe the last authentication. Yes, that's going to be updated, but that's it. Except for that, there's, I think, no more information. All right. Then next question from Muzammil Yassin. Does Odoo process some entries based on fiscal year date? I guess what you mean is the closing, probably of your of the period of the fiscal year. The thing is that there is, except for the tax entries, so the fact that when you arrive at the end of the tax period of your company, you can here decide to close the entry of your tax period. So it could be monthly, quarterly. So it depends a bit on your setup and yes, I mean on your situation. So that's a way of closing the entry. But it's true that, for example, if in terms of profit and loss or balance sheet, so regarding indeed the reports that are going to be updated regarding to the fiscal year date, there is no actions to be done to close the fiscal year date, let's say to close the fiscal period. So it's going to be done automatically. What you can do, let's say, as an action for you is simply to, if you want to, let's say, imagine that we move to Odoo to 2026, and so 2025 should be closed. You should not allow people to create new entries in 2025 because, like, the period is done, and that's how you published it to the administration. Then what you have to do is to put a log date in your database to make sure that you can log here, at different levels. Log the sales, log the purchase with a certain date. It's inclusive as well, so it's like this. So you could say, okay, I'm not enabling my customer to record any sales, let's say, until that date. If I try then to do it still, and so to create a customer invoice because it's a sale part in March, I will get a message telling me, no, actually, this period is closed. So it will be directly postponed to the corresponding period, which is here in April. That's what you can do. So as I said, at different levels, depending on how much, let's say, things you want to put in place, like lock everything, look at the tax return level, so you cannot, record any entries containing tax rate in the past, or here lock sales and purchase as well. So that's what you can do to make sure that you, let's say, close your fiscal period. Next question from I'm That Guy. POS order does not create a manufacturing order. If customers orders coffee and sandwich, even though the item is set up for MTO and manufacturing as roots, MO won't be created automatically for POS. Is there any setup required for this to work? So I guess, okay, so in your case, like you start from the principle that you're going to manufacture the goods, let's say manufacture them in direct. So when people are just going to order something, you want a manufacturing order to be automatically created. It's a good question. Maybe we can try to see that. And for that, I think I need to activate the settings in the point of sale. At least to check if it is properly set up, which is here. Yes, it's inventory management. So to make sure that everything is recorded in real time at that moment. And there, if I just take a look at my product B, which I created just before. So here, I'm just going to take a look at this, see if it is available in the point of sale, but I think it is not yet. Yes, here I can check the box. So I have still one unit on hand. Yes, maybe I need to. Yes, I'm just going to change it. So yes, I'm just going to come back to where I was. There, and put here a 0 quantity. The thing is that in the point of sale, I think that if I try to sell my product B, I will not get any message preventing me to do it. Okay, I need to check. I need to make sure that it's available in that point of sale, of course. So, product B, point of sale. Let's put it in the MISC. Great, no, it should be the case. Okay, so well, no, there is nothing here. Okay, I don't know why you didn't see it before. Let's try again. Great. So here it is. So like I don't have, of course, any message telling me that this product is not, well, here, of course, I see it because it's not available. Like this, I said, I know units available for now on that product. If I still decide to proceed, like this, pay by cash, let's say create, well, anything. I just don't want to ship later for now. I can validate. Like I made, let's say, a sell of this product. If I just now want to take a look, let's keep it open, so that we keep a real use case and take a look simply at the session that is still ongoing. I have a picking, and so this product has been delivered indeed. But if I decide to put on the product B here, let's say first to make it as a manufacturing product, and second to make it with a bill of material, but it's already the case. If I run my scheduler, will I see something telling me about the fact that I need to produce it? No, because it's too late as it has already been delivered. So maybe what we need to do in that case, we can try again, is to do the same flow. But I mean, as the product is not manufactured yet, we'll just say that we want to deliver it later. So on today, let's say, but we're still going to choose a client. Great. We validate it. Yes, okay, let's choose this one. So here in that case, if I come to my session of point of sale, I will see a second picking. This one is still waiting because I don't have my product B unit. To get one, I need to produce it. So maybe now, if I go in my manufacturing orders, I will see something appearing. For now, I don't see it. If I run my scheduler, and I refresh my page, I don't see it neither, but that's maybe just because my setup is not done in the right way. So I'm just going to take a look at the replenishment here of my product B. All right, well, at least I see here that I'm, let's say, some -1 units, and I'm forecasted to be at -2. My route should be manufacturing. So here, I mean, everything is properly identified for me to produce the good. It's not that it is not done automatically. But I could still click here in order to generate the goods, and automatically then I get my manufacturing order. So the person who is supposed to produce the good will see it, can produce it, and then it's up to him, of course, because probably it's done in 2 steps, that when the good is delivered then to the client, to make sure that the delivery is processed as well. So of course here just a question also of training and make sure that everything happens smoothly, but it could probably work if you proceed it like this. So I'm just going to summarize afterwards, but just want to make sure that I can, yes, now it's ready, so I can validate. So probably to make it work, so first properly set up your products, make sure that you have the reordering rules, that you have the manufacturing and the bill of materials that are created, and make sure that in your point of sale, like the stock is updated in real time. And then, if the scheduler is run, let's say, and everything works, you should get the manufacturing order created to produce the goods, and then you need to just to make sure that you make it out of your stock by validating the delivery. So if I just need to give my advice about this, I think, of course, that you should not go that far if you want to, let's say, create a bill of material for a sandwich. I think it's too complicated for this use case. If you want my point of view, I think it's easier to keep things simple, to simply have products that are not manufactured, and maybe you just give the receipt, in a different manner to the people in the kitchen. Because what happens is that bill of material is, let's say, there, if you want to manage your stock at a very precise level, probably you don't want to track your stock at that level for a sandwich. And if that's simply just to give the receipt to people, there's probably easier way to do it. Because if you do it, then you add way more clicks, because people will need first to take a look at what they need to proceed, then validate the delivery. So it's a bit more of settings, of course, as you can see now in my small demo. All right, next question from Sally. Hello, recently we have received a request from a hospitality customer asking about the integration capability between Odoo and their current OTA channels, Tripbook, Booking, and so on. Would be great if you can spare time to advise on this topic. Thanks in advance. Okay, that's a good question. I'm not sure there is existing integration between Odoo and this kind of booking systems. So that's a good question. Actually, what happens is that those are, let's say, some very big actors of the market, and in my opinion, they are doing their job pretty well and are really well known by the end customers as well. So it's pretty complicated to replace it first. But it's not your question, I know, but it's a question that we receive from time to time, from customers, from prospects who ask us, can Odoo, take the place of these companies and make sure that people can make some bookings on the e-commerce of Odoo. It's true that it's something a bit optimistic from time to time. I don't say it's not possible at all, but of course then it needs to be properly analyzed, and it's possible that customization should be made for that, even if, let's say, in terms of rental, in terms of appointment, Odoo is more and more good. But there, how to integrate it, basically you need to go through an API or to a server to make the connection in between. So that's a development as any integration that you may have, with the idea that once the picking is created on one of these websites, it automatically creates the corresponding either invoice or order in Odoo. Then the question that you should think of is, okay, but then what do I want to track in Odoo? Is it only the invoicing, the payment, and so on? Or do I want to have a visibility in Odoo about my, all of my then hospitality stuff, like my rooms, my hotels, and how much busy they are, and so on? That's where I think the cursor should be placed in order to know how much, let's say, integration you want to put in place. I don't know very well what the website as Trip.com or Booking.com are proposing, regarding the reporting and all of this tracking. Maybe they are doing the job once again very well. So just a question, okay, what do we want to replace? Where do we want to stop each of the integration, on which side? And then deciding to create the right integration for that. So what information do I want to transmit from one side to the other to make sure everything is properly set up? But yes, it's a tricky topic, as any integrations. It's always a bit complicated. But yeah, so I think I cannot really advise you more about this because I never get to the use case as well. It's just that when we talk about an integration, it's usually the case of thinking, okay, what do I want to do in which software, and so to make sure that we adapt it accordingly. All right, next question from Musamil. How does Odoo handle the scenario of a 13th period accounting adjustment? Unfortunately, I'm not sure to know what is this scenario about. Is it some entries that you need to put in place in Odoo in order to make adjustments on your role accounting, and that you call here the 13th period? If that's the case, I would just say that you do it as any kind of entries in your database. So maybe just to bounce on what I just said before, what you could do is, before closing your entry here and make sure that people cannot adapt the past period of time, you could decide to create a journal entries in a journal that would be like either miscellaneous operations or adjustments, accounting adjustment, whatever. Where you decide to adjust, the different values or entries that you have done in the past, just impacting the right account and so on. That's probably something like this that you would like to achieve. So why not creating a specific journal for that, so that you can keep track, of course, of all those adjustments in a very specific place. But except for that, there is no exactly, let's say, an out-of-the-box feature that you can use if that's exactly what you want. But I guess it is, based on the name that you provide. But yeah, I hope it can already help you a bit to move on. But wait, yes. Okay. Next question from Frank. Hello, we are running an automotive business. That means we need to handle serial production, but with always changing actual demands for the actual and following months versus forecasted. Or would you handle this in Odoo, especially in the view of purchasing and replenishment? So let me come back to the question. So you are handling serial production, but with always changing actual demands for the actual and following months versus forecasted. I guess what you mean is that, let's say you need to plan and need to forecast what you are going to maybe purchase and replenish in your stock. But the thing is that depending on that, you have some changes as well in terms of demands that you cannot really forecast, because maybe some months are going to change a lot. And so you struggle a bit to make them the right purchasing and replenishment strategy. So if we want to, let's say, think about this, there is something, but maybe it's not going to work, but there is something that exists in manufacturing, which is about no, maybe not this one. I think what is important here is to make sure that your forecasting of, let's say, that you do is properly done. And for that, what is nice is that if you start using Odoo on a regular basis, you can start having some reporting telling you, yes, last year during the same month, this is what you were able to sold or to deliver to your client. You know, for example, here, if I group it by date and by month, of course, here I'm on a test database, so I don't have much data. But what I mean is that here you could buy product. And if you decide to filter a bit as I did at the beginning of the session, you decide to filter on what has been delivered, for example, to your client, like 2, yes, and you say, okay, what I delivered to my client. Like you could end up with the quantity that have been delivered for your client for each of the months. And then just try to use this notion to reproduce it, for example, in that case, for April 2026, imagining that you will probably deliver the same amount of goods with a certain margin that you compute, okay, if you want to make sure. Maybe some products have an increasing trend, some others have a decreasing trend, but what we need to know here is to make the proper forecasting report. For that, why not deciding to insert those data in a spreadsheet as well, where you will have the possibility to include those kind of computation, explaining, okay, this is the amount of margin that you have, deciding to compare month per month what is the trend for each of the products, so that you understand exactly where it's going and in which direction. Based on that, you will end up, let's say, with a forecast for each of the months that are coming for your product, and you could decide to use it afterwards to make sure that you can, let's say, produce the right number of goods and, of course, the right number of components. Either you decide to, let's say, make it automated, but it's not really automated because probably every month will be different. But you could decide then on a monthly basis to adapt the reordering rule that is, let's say, defined for each of your products. I'm not sure there is a start date and end date in that case. No, there is not. But here, let's say you are at the beginning of the month, and then you decide need to adapt a bit how the reordering rule is going to be configured, so that you will try to never go below, the forecasting that you did. And if you do, the fact that you are then able to replenish it and to purchase the corresponding components based on the forecasting that you have done. And this forecast can indeed take into account the current month and the following one. I know it's a bit complicated for you maybe to understand what I'm explaining, but it's just that it's so it requires a lot of setup actually to see exactly how it works. But I would probably then here put the focus first on how it is done. Something else is true, because here you mentioned about production, and that's actually that was my first idea, is that in your manufacturing app you have a tool which is called the master production schedule that you can probably think of. And the thing is that here, same, I'm not going to get, let's say, a lot of tools for that, a lot of data to read it. But yes, so here the idea is that it's going to forecast the demand of each of your product depending on what has been recorded, during last year. You can as well adapt it, like here, replenishment on order and everything that is already recorded. The forecast is stock, and so here you will end up with the quantities and the evolution of the quantities for each of your products. And this tool enables you to order goods, depending on this logic that has been computed in the report. This report should be studied, and of course tested a lot to see if it can face the needs, but that's really the purpose of why it has been done, because basically at the end, the purpose is to purchase goods to make sure that you can fill and meet the demand of each of the production goods that we have. So it's true that it's probably better to go in that direction than the one that I explained at the beginning with the dashboard, because it's out of the box, and that's probably maybe something that's going to help you to meet your needs. And here, what I just want to mention is that all of these notions can be adapted manually if you need to, because maybe the forecast will not be done accurately. So yes, so here, if you want to test it or just to know more about this, there is here a small documentation. Well, not really small, but a documentation telling you about how does it work and how you can use it, to see how it goes. So that could be, I think, the first step to see if you can make it more efficient in your case. I propose that we have a short break of 5 minutes, and then we come back for the rest of the question. Okay, so that's the end of the break. I hope you are still ready to continue, and we'll just keep on directly with the questions that you asked. Asita asked us about the Odoo post menu that is showing too low quality images. Well, the thing is that I cannot really determine if it's because of Odoo of the picture that you load. So what I would just advise you to do first is to probably take a look at the resolution of the pictures that you load on the, for example, post categories or products here, because yes, that's basically what you will be able to find yeah, but it's going to have an impact, I guess, on the quality of the images that you load in Odoo, and maybe in terms of format as well. I know Odoo accepts many different kind of formats, but maybe some works better than others. So that could be a way maybe for you to make sure that you select the right ones. But yes, because maybe there is let's say a downscale in terms of quality, but it should not, let's say, affecting your work, of course, when you use a point of sale. Next question from Juan. How do we trace email sent origins? So the thing is that I guess then you imagine the fact that you send emails then from Odoo. So the origin would be your email server. So either like the email server from Odoo if you did not configure your own ones, or the one from your own email server. The thing is that any emails that you have are going to be listed here if you send them, and probably here in the advanced setups you will see from where, let's say from which outgoing email server it has been used. For example, in that case, it has been used from the server of Odoo, so I don't have any outgoing email server that is used. Of course, here I have information as well from the sender and the receipt, but I guess that's not really your question in that case. And also, why do I see here an email in the queue? It's because in that case I decided to change my email template setup and to remove the fact that it is in auto delete. In that case, then I'm able to retrieve it in the list of the emails that I sent. Let's take maybe an example about the quote. Here, okay, sale. So order confirmation, let's say. And I'm going to remove the auto delete. So that means that if I go on a sales order and decide to send it by email, I'm just going to check if it is, of course, the right template in that case. So order confirmation, yes, and I can send it. It means now that if I go on my email list queue, I will see it here. It will not be deleted because I removed the auto delete, because usually it's deleted once it has been sent. So you keep it in the chatter, but you don't keep it in the queue. It's a way of making your database, of course, more efficient, and you increase the performance by not storing information that are maybe not useful. But I mean, you still have the possibility to do it at that moment. And here, I have a bit of information regarding, yes, the information, yes, about what is the origin maybe of the email that you sent. All right, I see then two questions from Muzamil still about the deliveries and the shipping method that we have. Still about the e-commerce, I guess, but is it possible to give the customers the option to select the shipping method? Like when the products are selected, it would show that Dix is going to charge this amount, UPS this amount, and DHL this amount. So it's a case if you use it in standard, like you have delivery methods that you have there. In my case, I don't have any integration, of course, with any provider, but that's something that you can activate if you go in the settings and look at, I will type provider, but probably that's the best way of doing it. I'll just go into settings and see the different providers that we have. Maybe I need to go, well, delivery. Yes, that's here. So here I can select, of course, any providers that are, let's say, natively integrated with Odoo. And as we see, of course, we're going to compute the shipping cost and, let's say, ship with this provider so that we can directly get the label in our database. But here, if we just think about it, it means that once you activate this and set it up, you can end up at the end of the process here in the website. So let me show you that. If I just decide to add a product, okay, like this one, I add it to cart, proceed to checkout. Great, I make my delivery, very nice. And here, yes, that's where you can see it. So here I see for now a standard delivery, which is for free. But if I have some different shipping method available, that's where I will see which are the ones, that are the most affordable. The thing is that I'm pretty sure that it's not interesting for clients, but maybe I'm wrong in some cases, okay? But I'm pretty sure it's not interesting for clients to decide by themselves to choose different delivery provider for each of the products that they would purchase. Maybe at the end it would come with a larger amount than what you have if you just select the same one for the whole list of your products. But as I said, maybe I'm wrong. I know that in some existing e-commerce that are existing online, depending on the product that you select, it may be delivered by different, of course, provider at the end. But it's mostly not the choice made on the cost, but mostly on the availability, on each provider, depending on where the products are coming from. Anyway, to answer your question, so that's where you select it. So it's not when you add products to cart, it's at the end when you added all your products that you can choose the one that is the most interesting one. It's a simple choice. You cannot make a choice of multiple ones, as I said, depending on the goods that you want to deliver in some cases. And of course, this choice that we have here is made depending on let's say the availability setup that you provide here. So it could be about, let's say, the countries, about the tag that you have as well defined on the product. It could be as well in terms of module. So I'm going to enjoy that part of my answer to answer your second question, which is, okay, how to make the shipping based on package in Odoo. For example, if I have 5 products, it's go to package 1, which go to UPS. If I have 10 products, it go to package 2, and it goes to DHL. For now, the only, let's say, the process that you have in Odoo that can make the job would be to base it on the total amount of volume and weight that you have, saying, okay, if I am at maximum, let's say 1 cubic meter, then I go for UPS. If I am at maximum another kind of volume, I go for DHL. Like, you need to convert this notion of quantity into a notion of volume, which makes more sense, because if you just base it on quantity, like, I guess all of your products do not have the same volume. So maybe you have small products, larger products. So if you say 5 products, it could be probably a high difference in between both. So probably is not the right criteria to decide which provider you want to get, while the weight and the volume could be a better way maybe of choosing it. And what is nice is that if you adapt it here, basically, depending on the full cart of your client, like they will not have the choice. They will only see the providers that are able to meet the goods that they purchased. So yeah, that's it. I hope it is clear, but that's indeed what you have in standard for to answer those 2 questions. All right. Next question from Kong: how to make CRM link with project in the view form? So the thing is that, so here in the CRM you have some, let's say, opportunity. The question that you may ask yourself is, okay, but then why would I like to, let's say, link a CRM opportunity to a project? And so depending on the use case, of course, my answer may be different. First, what we can try is to take a look if we have, let's say, a field that's going to make the link in between my 2 apps. The thing is that for now, I did not added I did, okay. I think I believe that I do not have the project app, but I do. So that's good. So here, let's try to find if we have a field. Here, let's say that we have where the project is going to be the related model. And it is not the case. At least it's not the case for now. If I still take a look here at what I have, I will not see anything. I just know that at some point there is a way, yes, to convert not a task, but to convert a ticket, I think, into an opportunity. So I'm just going by curiosity to install the assistance application to see if, no, not assistance, help desk, of course, in English, to see what we get. What we see here, that there is a module for that, helpdesk dash CRM. So it means that there is a link between both. So it doesn't answer your question, of course, but it's just to see if it's not going to enable something at the end. Because when we go on an helpdesk ticket, here I have the possibility, to convert this ticket into a task or to convert it into an opportunity. And so if I try to convert it into an opportunity first, I may see somewhere probably a link to the opportunity I used to do it. Actually, this link now is stored in the chatter. So indeed, there is no direct link for now with the ticket, even in the field. So that's what I wanted to check. Okay, so as I said, here's a question. The main question that you should think of is, okay, but in which context would I want to have a link in between project and CRM to understand how the flow is working? Like, do you first start to create a project and then you end up, let's say, converting it into an opportunity? Or do you have, let's say, the reverse situation, you start with an opportunity for which you need to create a project, maybe to make some pre-sales work and make sure that you can convert it into a sales order. Let's take the second use case and then make a bit of customization to create that integration. And for that, what I'm going to do first is to create a new field with Studio. So I do it with Studio, but you could do it as well manually by creating a new field and then adding it through an inherited view in the model, on the view of the CRM opportunity in the form view. All right, so here I just try to add first a many-to-one link to model, to the project model. Great. Let's say it's related project. So it's easy because, of course, then it just simply means that what I can do is go there and select the corresponding project linked to my CRM. So if the project already exists, if it does not, I could create it. I could say new project. Okay, I create it and that's it. My link is done. I could as well, on my project itself, here, if I go on it in the settings, I could add a smart button, which is related opportunity, where I will be able here to link it to the related project of my opportunity. Great. And so here I see that on my project, I also have access to my opportunity. So the links between both is done. That's pretty easy, of course, to do it like this, and it's going to work. But of course, if you want to make things a bit more automated or a bit more, let's say, logic in Odoo, you could decide to create, for example, a server action. Why not? So for that, I'm just going to go in the server actions model, and here decide to create a project. So it's in the model CRM lead opportunity. Yes, very good. And I just want to create a record, which will be a project. The name here, I will call it new project 2, let's say. And I want it to be linked to the related project, like this. I can create a contextual action, and even with Studio, make things a bit better in terms of display, to add a button here and say create a project and link it to the server action I just created. So which here create a project. Very nice. So now if I start again, I will start from this one. Now I did the possibility to click on create a project and directly get a new project created here that will be linked to this. This project will be empty, of course, because I did not do anything for now, let's say, to make it automatically computed or populated with some data. That's something that you could do. For example, you could, instead of creating a server action that is going to compute, let's say, to create a new record, so I'm going to come back to this, create a project. You could decide to execute some code, and in that place, for example, to duplicate a project template that you have that is always the same, that contains some tasks, some stages, and that is going indeed to be every time duplicated with a new name that you can also make dynamic depending on your on the name of your record. So it will be something like this. I will write it with pseudocode, okay, because that's something that you can find pretty easily. But that will be something like this, like project.project, because I guess that's the model that we have. Let's check if it is the right name. Yes. .create, and there it's a format that I just don't remember always when I just try to write it down, but then you would say that the name of the project, for example, could be equal to the record name that you have, and maybe, like the fact that the stages, of your project would be something else, and that the task that you have would be as well created automatically. So of course here it would be much more complete than what I do here, but just to give you the idea about the fact that you can also make it a bit more advanced, but that implies Python code, and that's where you need to make sure that everything is properly created. That's possible. You can do it as well, as I said here, with a simple server actions if you want to make things completely automated. As I said, here's a challenge is just for you to integrate that logic inside of the logic of your clients and how it's supposed to link CRM to the project case. All right. Next question from Ajaz Mohammed. Hi, can you share projects, work in progress details about Odoo? That's a good question. I'm not really able to show that because I don't work at the R&D department, but I have two answers to provide to you for that. The first is that in March, so maybe 1 month ago, our CEO, Fabien Pincars, gave an Odoo Insider session, and I know he spent a lot of time going into each of the specifications from the R&D, talking about AI as well, and you can find this replay on Twitch or LinkedIn or on any platform that we use, and you will get most of the answers regarding all the work in progress that you have for now in Odoo. But if you want to get some very concrete cases that are going to move on and to be done in Odoo, you can take a look also at the roadmap of the Odoo 19 that has been presented to partners during the Partner Day, which happened I think 2 weeks ago at Odoo. And here you will see, like for each of the apps, all the planned change that we have per module. Of course, we're not going to read it together now, but so here's a PDF, of course, but you will see that you can also access it if you go on LinkedIn. So let me show you that. So here is my LinkedIn page. And if I simply look and type Odoo roadmap, well, no, not like this, like this, I'll be able to find some let's say post talking about this, and there is especially this one from my colleague Sarah, which is just the exact same content with all the different slides I just shared with you. So that's a very nice way to get in touch with all the work in progress and what will be available in the new version of Odoo in Odoo 19. At least maybe not all of this, but most of this, so that you can take a look at this and also be prepared for all the changes that are incoming, that you can be sure to properly target them when they are up to be used. All right. Next question from Lourival Bernardo. Can Odoo automate process with form and workflow? The thing is that your question is a bit large. Of course, you can automate stuff, but here I think that's the important point of your question is form and workflow. I don't know if you mentioned a form like a web form, something that people can use to, let's say, auto-populate data and make sure that it's going to, based on this, to automate stuff, and workflow, of course, depending on the way people are using Odoo at that moment. Anyway, here maybe what's important for you to know is that you have this notion of automation rule in Odoo. That is where the process is needed to automate things that are not automated by default. So for example, something that is automated by default is the fact that once I create a sales order like this one, which is in the quotation stage, if I decide to confirm it, I will automatically create a delivery order. Okay, so that's an automation. That means it is done indeed automatically in Odoo. I don't need myself to go in the inventory and to create the delivery order. This kind of process can indeed come as well from your side if you decide to let's say bring automations by yourself. And for that, I would probably advise you to jump and check what is accessible in the automation tools here that we have with Studio, where you can indeed define some automation rules like this. You can select the model where you want the action to be triggered. You have several triggers to be selected, like with some elements that are preset, but you can also take more, let's say, general trigger as the on save, on deletion, or on UI change, depending if a user is making the change in real time that you want it to directly be triggered at that moment. If you pay to it on save, for example, here you can see as well that you can then predefine some criteria for the action to be triggered only in a very specific case. For example, when updating a specific field, if you ask the question, why is it important? Like, you could leave it empty, but if you leave it empty, it means that at any moment when someone's going to save a record, which is a sales order, the action will be triggered. While maybe there is no need for it to be triggered. So it's important, once again, in terms of performance, to make sure that your database is quick, is speed, let's say, has a high speed, to here restrict the number of fields to be targeted, to apply this automation rule afterwards. And same for the domain. I mean, of course, you try to restrict it to the lowest number of records that you can do. And then you just add your action depending on what you want to do, and that's where you can adapt it with a lot of predefined actions that are, let's say, standard ones, like all of these ones. But then you can also go one step further and try to execute code a bit as you would do with a server action, as I showed just before. So that's basically what you can put in place to automate process. Just note as well that when you think about automation, here what we do is that we try to make an automation based on something. We want to choose a specific trigger to do it. The other case that you can face is to make it on a regular basis. Is to say, no, I want something to be triggered every day or every hour, that everything is, once again, automated based on this. And that's something that you can do if you, for example, take a look at the scheduled actions in that case. You have a lot of standard scheduled actions. For example, one is the procurement run scheduler that we used just before. Of course, all of those standard actions are only called the method that is defined in the code. That's obvious that everything is clean. But of course, you can create your own action. And here you get just end up with the same kind of available variables where you can predefine the action that you want to set up. Same, of course, the higher the frequency of your action, the higher will be the impact as well on the database. So you need to be careful when you define it. But by the end, that's also a way to automate stuff in Odoo. But in that case, it implies Python code to make it work. All right. Next question. Is it possible to limit the choice of country in a contact to just one? All of our operations are within a single country. Yes, you can. You can probably do it in two different ways, but the first one may be a bit more risky than the rest, but let's check. What if I decide to go in my contact application in the countries there, and if I want to, for example, archive one of them? Is it possible? No, I cannot archive a country, okay. That's probably because there is no an active field on the country model. That's right. So you cannot do it there. So that could have been, let's say, a standard way of doing things. So here you cannot, let's say, modify this list of things. So what you could do is then go on the contact itself. If I want to adapt the country field, yes, I can. So with Studio, once again, but you can do it manually by creating an inherited view yourself. But you can here modify the domain and make sure that you only target a specific set of countries. For example, if I want, in my case, to only target the countries from Belgium, I could extract the ID of Belgium, which is 20 in that case, and say I need my ID to be 20 to make sure that I can select my country. If I save now, if I go to my country field, I'm now only able to choose here Belgium as a country in my field. So like you limit it, but only, of course, on that view. It's important to take that into account on that view and on that field. Because then if you, for example, go somewhere else, could I get an example? Maybe on the employees, let's try. Here, is there a field where we can choose a country? Work address. Now, work address is the same, so that's pretty good. Work location, maybe? No. Okay, what I mean is that we need to be careful when we set up something like this to make sure that the domain that we apply will work everywhere when we need to choose a country to make sure that it works. So that could be a way of doing things. Another way, which is also a bit of customization, so could be that you decide to change the access rights at here the country levels by defining a record rule saying, let's try to do it. It could be funny. So here I'm going to say, I just want to see then the country with the ID 20, like this. Then I just put this like that. I create a new record rule and I say access only to Belgium. And it's global, so it's applied to everyone. If I here decide to remove my view that I created before, so it was my form view, so I need to go there, view form, and I'm going to remove my studio view. Great. Now we can try, yes, and we see that we can only access Belgium again. So that's a way of doing it. Like you could also do it like this. I don't see like this any, let's say, consequences that could be bad for you if you are sure that everyone could only choose Belgium. Yes, maybe one issue that you could have is that in a way, if someone is able to create a contact then with a different country than Belgium, you may get an error in terms of access rights if you try to access it. Okay, so you need to be careful indeed if you want to play with access rights as I did here. So yeah, maybe it's a bit more unsafe. Then what you could do is saying, okay, then I just apply this kind of rights only for a specific group of user here. So let's say for my internal user. But let's imagine that the one that are administrator of database can still access all the countries if they need to adapt, the kind of contact that they adapt a contact that could have been misconfigured in the database. So yes, so that's a way of doing it. All right. Next question from Muad. Can an employee log into manufacturing directly using a badge or a QR code, but also scan another code or badge to start the manufacturing? Okay, so you mean like to log in, so probably to access then the shop floor application, I guess. So this one here, and then to say if you want to start and to start here, let's say this work, then you need to click again and to scan your badge again. That's probably a question, because if it is in terms of backend, here, I mean, once you get the access rights on manufacturing, there's no way of asking someone to identify, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm just going to check still in the settings to see if there is any kind of restriction that you can put. But I don't know anything about this, and it doesn't seem to be the case there. If we take a look at the work center, is there a way to limit it? Allowed employees, yes, we can do it there. Okay, but I mean, I'm an admin, so it's probably going to be a bit complicated to test because I probably have access to everything, whatever happens. Yeah. Okay, so for example here indeed I don't see anything, while Abigail sees the thing related to manual assembly, but it's just a question then on let's say who can access what, and that's indeed something that you can set up at the work center level. But anyways, I don't see a place where you can make sure that a QR code or a badge should be scanned to access it. At the employees level, of course, in standard, you have this notion in the settings here. Yes, but you still see that it's about manufacturing. So that's probably something that I miss now in that case. But probably here, if you add a QR code, you might be able to see that. So let's try with part 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. If I disconnect and connect again, yes, okay. Here I need to add the password. So that's if I want to add myself to the shop floor and then be able to access the corresponding stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4. I confirm. So I'm connected now with Antoine. And yes, okay. If I want to come back, I can connect again. All right. So here it's with a code, and so probably not with a QR code or a badge. I mean, a badge here could probably do the job if the badge is the same as the code that you have, because here you can probably just scan it and it will display the barcode accordingly. So it could be a workaround. About the QR code, yes, probably to try it as well. Anyway, I'm not sure it answers your questions properly, because in your case you want to both be able to log and then to start, while here the both cases are going to be mixed. So maybe it does not really answer your need. Because here, I mean, if you are going to switch to Antoine, you need to add a password. So you need, of course, to put the password to be able to connect, and then again, so it implies that you can start working. So the both situations are, let's say, together in that case. But it's right that you can also, to add an operator, you need as well to know the password. So you may have the two cases that are maybe answered in that case. So I'll let you think about it, but that actually indeed that's something that you can put in the, like using the standard of Odoo. Okay, next question from Dennis. Can you tell me where I can send a bug report? We cannot create a project update if the analytic account for this project was used in the invoice. This is in version V18. Everything is fine in V17. Well, from a general point of view, if you want to address a bug report, the best way of doing it is simply to go to odoo.com/help, you know, the main page for the support, and here you will see that you have a button to report a bug. And you will be brought to a page, which is this one, in which you can identify yourself, provide the database URL where you define that a bug has been observed, and especially if you have an unexpected behavior, you can also tell to the person of the support that your mistake is reproducible on the runbot. And that's something that is indeed very important to make sure that the problem that you experience is standard, like it's happening on any databases that you can create now in Odoo 18. I will just try afterwards if I can reproduce it to see if it is the case, but maybe you already did. But that's where indeed you can provide, let's say, the support with some bugs, and then they are going to reproduce it. Let's say compare it with the logic of Odoo to see if it is standard or not. And if it is not, then to probably apply a bug fix. Then the bug fix could have, let's say, it could be in two different cases. Either they are able to apply it for the major version that is currently there, which is Odoo 18, or it cannot be merged in the major version of Odoo, and so they need to apply the bug fix in Odoo 19, which is the next version, you know, that would be available. So that's the general process. Anyone can do it, and of course we advise you to do it as much as possible, and here to document it also in the best possible way to make sure that the person in front of you is going to know exactly how it is done. And you can also attach, of course, videos or screenshot of the way you did it. Now, just quickly to see how it's done, I'm just going to check first if my analytic accounting is activated. No, not yet. All right, I'm just going maybe to make it easy, install the field service app. Because it's easy then to create an invoice from a task. So of course that the analytic account will be used until the end. Wait, so yes, so we need just for it to be loaded. So the field service, for those who don't know, are just an extension of the project app. By installing it, what I can do then is, if I activate debug mode, is to go on the project settings here, and to simply there check a box, which is a field service box, like this. Once it is done, I can there, yes, but maybe this case is not a good one because it's already linked to a customer. So I'm just going to take one that is not linked yet, like this one here, and make it like this. Great. I'll go into a task. I'll create a new one maybe. Yes. Test. I will add the customer like this. I save. Yes, of course, here I have my issue with my record rule. So I need to adapt it, of course. So I'm going to come back to my countries. There, and I'm just going to remove my record rules. All right, here I create my task. I'm going to add a product on it, like this. And I'm just going to check as well if I have an analytic account set up on my project, analytic. Yes, it should be the case. So if I come back there and take a look at my sales order, if I look at my analytic distribution, that's good. It's linked to my analytic account, I can then create my invoice and confirm it. So that's good. And now what you told me is that if we want to make a project update, it's not going to work. So I guess what you mean by project update is this, but I'm not sure. So first I'm going to try it there. No. So that's probably not what you mentioned in your case. But probably what we have there. But I guess probably not as well. No. Of course, if we want to change there, we can. Here, if I want to change, we can. So, okay, I don't see then what is a project update in your case. So probably something to be checked. But at least here, I don't see any restricting behavior based on the fact that I have already an invoice created for that. Okay, so could you, next question from Divar Kanatan, could you provide an example of an automated WhatsApp reply message set up through Odoo? It will be complicated for me to provide you an example right now, mainly because the WhatsApp setup is something that you need to set up. So I do not do it in my database. I need to have a Meta account and to link and to the right link according to that. But I'm almost sure that if I type Odoo WhatsApp video, yes, there will be some videos explaining how it works. Here I see, let's say, some WhatsApp basics, so probably an Ignacio video that you can find, let's say, about how it works, exactly. So that's probably where you can indeed see a bit how it is shown. And here there's a webinar organized by one of my colleagues. Here it's in French, but at least if you speak French, that's a way, of course, to follow it step by step. Maybe there is a way also to, let's say, try to put the settings in English to see how it goes. Anyway, but yes, for that kind of question, unfortunately, I will ask you to take a look at the existing documentation to see how it is done. I know also that the documentation about the WhatsApp integration is quite complete and also pretty long here, if you want to exactly know how you can set it up to test it afterwards. But it's true that it's a bit complicated to test WhatsApp on Odoo if if you are not able to set it up before. So sorry for that. Next question from Boshra. How to create automated action in the fleet module? I would say that it's as any modules that you have in Odoo, so there is no specific restriction due to the fact that it's a fleet application. It really depends on what you want to automate. Pressing a scheduled action. I don't know which one it is, but let's try again. If I can't, I'm just going to move to. Okay, that's funny. It means that I just did the same action at the exact moment when scheduled action was triggered. Okay, I didn't know it was possible to happen, but at least we experienced it together. So yes, as I said about the fleet module, there is no limit explaining, like that you cannot create automation there that you cannot create in another case. Once again, you need to properly investigate the need. What do you want to achieve, let's say, through these automation rules, and then apply it accordingly. Do you have something there? Yes. What is great is that now in the Kanban view, with the different stages that you see, you can make automation based on a specific stage. So if I want to create here an automation, you see, it's going to directly bring me to that page. That's because I have Studio installed, of course. And then I could say, for example, okay, if I achieve a specific stage in my case, I was believed that something would be there out of the box. But anyway, here I could say, okay, after my save, I just want to be in a specific stage of my. But no, actually, is it state? Yeah, it is state. Okay, that's why. And so here, I can just set up one of my specific states here, and for example, create an activity to do wash the car. Why not? And here, responsible. Yes, of course, I need to set someone, and here, let's say, give it a name. And so now, if I just decide to move a vehicle to the old stage, I will get an activity telling me to wash the car. So let's take a look. Yes. So you see, it's pretty much the same as in any other modules. but yeah, it just needs to be, once again, relevant to your use case. All right, how to create the purchase demand if the BOM of the product is completed in the manufacturing section. So in that case, I guess that the purchase demand would be about the components of the bill of material. So what we can try, because actually I already set it up before, so I have a product B here, which is simply defined by a bill of material of my product A. I said that my product B is always, as a reordering rules, I did not say it. That's why actually just before it was not working. Okay, so as a reordering rule in between 0 and 0, like this, that I need to, let's say, replenish it if I need to, by, of course, producing my goods, and that's why here I make it as a manufacturing. And then I could say that my product A, if I just go below my quantity, and so I'm going to go back to 0 for a second, make a reordering rule here so that I can go back to 10 and I need to be at -5, let's say. This product needs to be purchased to this vendor, very good. Odoo already know about it. Let's put a price of 10 and I need to purchase it and to buy it. So here the route is properly set up. What it means is that now if I decide to, let's say, sell my product B to a client, here, I don't have any quantity, so it is in red. But if I confirm it, here it's still in red. But I mean, now I have created a need regarding this product to make sure that I can produce it. So what I can take a look is here in the inventory to run the scheduler, which is the scheduled action to be run 1 time per day. If I run it, now I should, in my manufacturing app, retrieve an action, yes, to no, not an action, but a manufacturing order to produce my product B. But my product B does not have now some units for my product A. So I cannot here for now produce it because I don't have any components available. So as my components are not available, I have a need for my product A. And so now I should find in my purchase app a purchase order created to purchase my product A. Here I just purchased 11 of them. Why? It's because for now my forecasted quantity is -1, but I should come back to 10, which is my maximum quantity defined on my reordering rules. And so in my purchase order, I just end up with 11 quantities to be ordered. So that's how you, let's say, make a different levels setup of replenishment, that indeed any kind of relation in between the products will trigger the replenishment logic for each of them. All right, Muad then, can we block a client if they have an overdue payment? Good question. I would say that there is different levels of warning that you can put in place to make sure it's clear for the user that the client has, let's say, overdue payment like this one. Let's go to DecoAddict, one of our good customers. The first one is here in the accounting section, but I don't see it now, so maybe it's not set it up. We can put a sales credit limit. So it's to say that we want to have a warning if we go above a certain limit of sales, like this. So I can save and set up that value on my customer, like this. And let's say, for example, that yes, my limit, here should be 1. So now as I'm above, I should have a warning if I want to create something for DecoAddict. So let's try. If I say DecoAddict, yes, I see now. Actually, wait, it's even more than this, because it's including the sales orders. I see that I am way above my limit, and so I have a warning. So it is not blocked, like I could still proceed, but at least I have the information that this contact does not pay his invoices. So that's the first point. The second point could be that you want to block him indeed, or to at least put a higher warning to it. And for that, that's something that you can do once again if you activate something else, which is the warning on the sales. This one. When you do that, when you go back to your customer, you can decide to put a warning. I need to check where it is. Previously, it was in the internal OTI. Okay, that's where it is. And yes, so we have two choices, warning or blocking message. Let's maybe try the blocking message for that use case and saying they need to pay. like this. And so now if I try again to create a quote for the co-addict, I will get this message telling me they need to pay, and I cannot proceed. I cannot add the co-addict. I will be stuck at any step of this process, so that I cannot indeed proceed with a sales order for that kind of client. So that's a way to block indeed the different customers in your database. I see two more questions in the chatter, but two that are a bit technical. The first one from Muhammad: does Odoo support SolidWorks integration through various third-party connectors, enabling seamless data transfer between CAD models and Odoo ERP? To be honest, I cannot give an answer to that question like this. I guess it's just a logic that you mentioned. SolidWorks, I don't know what it is actually, so let me just maybe type this so that I can see what it looks like. Yes, okay. Okay. So it's just a thing for designing of goods. Yes, CAD models. I see what you mean. Okay, so it's really related to production and manufacturing of goods. But no, it's true that is not the case. You will not see any native integration for that in Odoo. It's true that like all of this model stuff, I think, should be done elsewhere. But at least you can provide this kind of models when you define your bill of materials of your product. Here, you can, for example, they're attached, some documents regarding how should each of the operations be processed. Same there, you could put a PDF or Google slide, depending then on the models and of things that you want people to know about when they are going to proceed and manufacture goods in the database. But that's the way to do it. I would not see a different way of configuring that flow, but it's true that you don't have an integration in standard, at least, for that kind of process. And last question for today from Wadi: is it possible to integrate an EDI process in Odoo to automate the entire transaction workflow from order to invoicing using either the X12 or EDIFACT format? Same. I don't know anything about those formats, so it will be probably a bit tricky for me to give an answer to this. I know it's possible to, of course, automate the entire transaction workflow from order to invoicing, let's say through an ADI, because I have some customers who did it in the past. So that's something that you can set up. Now about the format, I would advise you to take a look probably at the external API doc of Odoo to see if it is mentioned or not. If it is not, then you have many changes that it is not available. Here, if I look for EDIFACT, I will not see anything, and the X12 neither. So yeah, probably it's going to be a bit tricky to find, let's say, this information directly from that page. But yes, I mean, you just need to be able to take a look at this. Many clients want to migrate from other accounting software to Odoo with existing data loaded in Odoo. Is that possible? I will just end up with this question from LinkedIn. We try to avoid, importing all the existing data in Odoo in terms of based on our experience at Odoo, because we tried, for existing projects to do it, and every time it's a bit struggling for us, especially because depending on the quality of the data that you have from the other software, it's complicated to make the right matching with Odoo to make it work. And usually what we notice is that the end result is used on a very, let's say, rare basis. Like you just never just take a look at those historical data in Odoo, except if you want to make a status year after year, and make a graph maybe to show the evolution of the sales. But if this is what is important for your client, we just decide rather to import the key information just as an Excel file in the document application, for example. Well, it is stored. We can see it. We can access it if we need. But it's true that importing all the data as invoices, sales orders, delivery orders in Odoo, or if you just want to stick to invoices and vendor bills and miscellaneous operations, it's already a bit large. And that's why here it's something that you would not do. But of course, what you could still try to do, because I see Alexis said that it's easy I mean, it depends, of course, on your ability to do that. If you want to make things a bit more automated, for example, you could as well do it with a script and a bit of Python code if you want to make things a bit more automated. In some countries, for example, in France, this notion of importing data is historical data is preset with a certain format. So it's also depending on the countries you are in to make sure it's able to work or not. But basically, at Odoo, what we propose to our clients is mostly to import the opening balance when we start a project, because in terms of cost versus, let's say, added value, this is the best for everyone. So that's why we go for that direction. Okay, well, I think that's it for this Odoo Insider session. As I said at the beginning, so the next session will be next week, of course, as you are used to, with a special how to import in Odoo session that is pre-recorded, as it is a public time off in Belgium, but we'll come back with a regular Q&A session for the 8th of May. So feel free to prepare them up front to be able to ask them during that session. And yes, thank you for attending this session, and see you later.